Alright, let's dive into this review for triangle congruences because your skill check is coming up very soon, probably tomorrow. So, let's dive right in. These sort of questions are pulled right off of the proficiency guide, and so we're just kind of using that as the examples of what things you're going to see, like see what things are going to be like on your test. And so let's look at it. This first section deals with being able to tell by which theorem two triangles are or are not congruent. So let's look at 3 and 4. On 3 here, we got a couple of triangles, and you need to be able to recognize that if it has 2 arcs, that those angles are congruent. If it has 1 arc, those angles are congruent. I do want to point out, it doesn't matter how far away the arcs are. You may notice, like, this is farther than this distance here. That doesn't matter. You just count on how many arcs there are. Really, like on this one, it could have been way out here. It doesn't matter. It's just, is there 1 arc or 2 arcs? Those match up, then those are congruent. All right. So we got a pair of angles matching on the triangles. And since these triangles share a side, you can actually add a tick mark here because of the reflexive property. And now that we have that, we would have 2 angles and the side between them. We got 2 angles and the side between them. And so these 2 triangles are congruent by side, angle, side. Sorry, not say angle, side. Ugh. Angle, side, angle. I know what I'm doing, I promise. All right. So yeah, you got 2 angles on the side between them. Let's look at number 4. Again, this has a shared side, so it's a little tick mark there. They are used 2, so we'll just use 1 this time. Here we got a side, we got an angle, and we got a side. And on this triangle up here, there's a side, there's an angle, and then there's a side. And so, are these 2 triangles congruent? No. The answer is no. No, they're not. Alright, and, well, guaranteed congruent. And that's because, if you look at this one, here, you have the 2 sides and the angle where it meets up. On the other triangle, though, we got the 2 sides, but the angle's not where they meet up. And so this left triangle, while it has side, angle, side, the one over here has side, side, angle. And I almost wrote it the other way. But yeah, these do not match up. And so there's not a guarantee of congruence. And in fact, I would say these are not congruent. But I guess there's a possibility. But yeah, there's not a guarantee of congruence because these are not matching in the same way. And even if they were both side-side angle, this would also not guarantee congruence. Side angle side is a guarantee. Angle side angle. You got angle angle side or side side side. Side side angle is not a congruence theorem that we have to work with. So this one's a big old no. I wrote it big and angry like. Anyway, next section. Really, the meat and bones of your little test here is being able to write proofs that 2 triangles are congruent. And the reason we're really focusing on this is because next year you're going to have to do even more proofs with more things, with parallelograms and other quadrilaterals and different angles. You have to do these proofs, and these are kind of your beginner proofs that we're starting off with this year. So let's do a proof for 5 here. This doesn't have labels on it, and it does say to add your own. So we're gonna add our own. Let's see. Should we go boring? Yeah. Let's do fun. Let's do Z. Let's do A. We put a K in the middle. That's fun. And then it's F. Let's put another vowel in here. I. So yeah, there we go. We got a bunch of letters on here, and now it's time to write our proof. In our proofs here, we're gonna do the 2-column method. Which over here we're going to write some statements. And that's weird. E just got worse. And then we got some reasons on the right side. When you're writing your proof here, always start with your givens. And the givens are the parts that are the information given to you, the congruent statements you can make based on just what the picture has already. So this already has congruent marks here, congruent marks here, and so those are our givens. So we're going to put that angle Z is going to be congruent to angle I, and then we got side AK is congruent to FK, which is KF, yeah, KF. There we go. And these are both givens. So right, given. These are write these on different lines. So we got two pairs of things congruent, but in order to complete any of the triangle theorems, they all take three letters because there's side, 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 angle, angle, and angle, angle, side, and all three of them require three pairs of things to be congruent to complete the proof. Well, we got two, and there is a third one that we can use, and it's here in the middle. Anytime you have two lines crossing, these opposite angles are guaranteed to be congruent, and that's because they are what are called vertical angles. If you remember that, congratulations. If you didn't, that's what it is. Yeah, so we got those two angles in the middle. We got angle AKZ congruent to angle IKF. So angle X is congruent to angle IKF, and that's because they are vertical angles. So that's what I'm going to put. And we'll complete that. And so now we actually have three pairs of things congruent on these two triangles. We got a pair of angles and then a side not between them. And so that's going to turn this into angle, angle, side. So we're going to put that here. These two triangles are congruent by angle, angle, side. You can put your letters however you want here at the beginning. I'm going to do a KZA, change it up. But when you write your letters for the next one, it needs to be in corresponding order. So K, Z, A, I need to write it in corresponding order. So over here on this triangle, K, and then I, F. And that's because it went from K to Z to A. Now I need to go to K to I to F because those are the corresponding parts. So K, I, F. So Kaza is congruent to Kif. And there's our proof. Ta-da! All done. Let's do... Yeah, we got a couple more examples just to kind of give you a reminder. I'm actually not going to walk through the whole thing on 8 here. But what's going on is you need to be able to do slightly more complicated proofs. These ones, you got a bunch of givens, and then maybe you do vertical angles or reflexive property. Not anything too intense there as far as properties are concerned. But when you get to later ones, you'll have slightly different givens, and you have to deal with other things. These will be the more than 4 lines of proof. You need to be able to tell, okay, if there's a midpoint, what does that mean? And be able to write that in your proof, which the hint is, if C is a midpoint, then either side of it's going to be congruent. By definition of midpoint. In math, midpoint is not a sort of in the middle point, it's exactly in the middle. And just like when we have bisect, if one line bisects another, that means it cuts it exactly in half. And so either half would be congruent to each other based on the definition of bisect. But I'm not going to work through this proof here. You should work through it and give it a shot. Actually, let's have you do that. Pause the video, work through 8, and then I'll shut up, and then you can check your answer. Okay, give it a shot. Pause. Alright, let's have you check and see how you did. So I started with these being congruent, these being congruent. Those are my givens. And then I mentioned this given. C is the midpoint of BE. And since it's the midpoint, I know either side of it's congruent by definition of midpoint. And now that I have that, the two triangles are congruent by side, angle, side. Alright, we got one more that I would like to go over, and we did not have an assignment about this specifically, because this is level 4. This is going beyond what the standards asked of you. And so, what we have done for level 4 this time is now it's a story problem, but these are still congruent triangle kind of questions. For instance, number 10 here, 2 door stops. Door stops are like those like little wedges you put in your doors so they, stop. We got 2 of them, and they both have a 20-degree angle. So something that helps is kind of drawing this out so you can see it. So I'm going to draw a couple of door stops here. I'm going to make these look a little bit different, but they got 20 degrees. So I can put 20 degrees. angles, and the length of the side between the 90 and 20 degrees angle is equal. So I'm going to put my little 90 here, and I'm going to put a little congruent mark there. Are the cross sections congruent? Explain. So, looking at the what I set up here, we got 20 degrees, congruent side, 90 degree angle. And then we got 20 degrees, congruent side, 90 degree angle. Well, looking at these two triangles, we actually have enough information to guarantee that they're congruent because we have an angle, we have a side, and then another angle for both of them. And that is one of our triangle congruencies, angle, side, angle. And so let me kind of show you what I wrote up because I'm impatient, don't want to rewrite it again. But yeah, we do have a guarantee of congruence, and on the explain part, you should explain the proof that they're congruent, such as this. So since the cross sections have two of the same angles and the side between those angles are the same, they are congruent by angle, side, angle. Ta-da! That's what I'm looking for, level 4. Just kind of applying this idea of congruent triangles to things outside of just arbitrary triangles, things in real life. So there you go. Good luck on your reviewing. Do your proofs. Get the practice in. If you still haven't finished the triangle proofs packet, you should do that so you can have just all that practice and be able to do it really fluently on your test coming up. Good luck.